What's up, everybody? This is indeed the E-Man. Chilling like a villain, singing like Bob Dylan. Keep on the low with some double stuff Oreos. And I am back after, being out for a month. Happy New Year to everybody. And I have a special guest on the show who has actually been on my show. This is his fourth visit to the special delivery show. He is a writer, he's a director, he's an actor. He's just a jack of all trades. He's a good friend of mine, and I want to welcome back to the show, Mr. Chris Gervais.
Yay! Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank
you
you for
like,
having me again.
yeah, man. It's. I always like look back. I'm not gonna hide it. I like to listen to my episodes.
Oh
And
yeah.
one of my favorite episodes is our first interview, which actually next month will be 3 years ago. Our very first interview that we did. Um,
Oh, it doesn't feel like it's that long ago.
I know, man. Time is just really weird now. Like I tell my sister, my sister and I be like, I feel like I'm. You remember this movie called Limitless with Bradley Cooper?
Oh yeah.
And one of the side effects of him taking that drug was like he couldn't really keep up with time, and like you be in a different place and not realize he's there. I feel like that a lot of times. So like it's like 3 years ago. It doesn't seem like 3 years ago, but I love that interview that we did because it seems so seamless. Because I know who you are, and it was just fun talking to you. Um, Also, you were on the Todd Holland episode when we interviewed Todd Holland. You were on the
Yeah,
Indiana
that was
Jones.
awesome.
Yeah, man. That was Indiana Jones roundtable, and then our first interview. So this is the fourth interview. So things have changed. You are now a citizen of LA. You are
Yep.
in LA. So first things first. How are things? How are you? How are things since the fires? How are you coping? Are you good?
So yeah, we did good. We were very close to we like the heart of where the fire was in the Palisades. We like the evacuation zone. We are only like 4 or 5 miles from the end of that evacuation zone. So
Okay.
pretty close, but we got really lucky and I'm in Santa Monica and it's where I'm at is kind of southeast of the big fire and the wind or something just always seemed to push it the other way. So it never got any closer. Like it was a little scary at first because it's like, man, that's not far from us. But it
Yeah.
never got any closer. So really lucky. But it was a little bit it was hairy.
Yeah. And I never realized like how many people I actually know on the West Coast now. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like I know a lot of people. So I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta check up on Chris. I got a friend named Bryson. He lives in the Los Angeles area. I got a few people that I've interviewed, I'm glad, and everybody that I've talked to, thank God they're safe. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah,
I
man.
gotta say, man, that checking up on people in situations like that really is good just because like it's so stressful and like everyone around you stressed out and it's just really negative and especially those go on for a long time. So really just your friends just checking in to say just to see how you are feels good.
Yeah. I mean, but how is the city now? Is it still smoky in certain areas? No.
No, we got a lot of rain since then. So that's part of the problem was it had been a drought and then
Right.
luckily a week and a half after it really started, we got a lot of rain and we've had a lot of rain since then. So it's totally good now. And I'm lucky enough that again, I guess it's the wind. We there was only one day where we could even smell it, and then there like ash in the air, and I think
Right.
that's because the wind died down. So yeah, I'm lucky where I'm at.
Yes, yes, very lucky. I'm glad you're
But
safe.
as far as all that goes, it's for the most part back to normal. I mean, a lot of people are concerned about what's in the air and if it's necessarily something you can detect. Or like I have friends that have a little, their youngest is like 4 and he has a lot of respiratory problems. So
Mm,
they were real careful about tracking stuff inside and everything.
right.
But otherwise, everything's back to normal.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. 'Cause we're both movie lovers. You're an actor as well. Have you seen any good movies lately?
Yes, I saw the last good thing I saw was Companion. That's really good. The horror movie.
Oh, yeah. Oh, crap. No, because you know the theater here, it'll have something, it'll leave like almost immediately, and I meant to
Yeah.
see that before it left. Crap. Okay, well,
Yeah, it's worth it. It's really good. And if you don't, um, do your best to avoid knowing anything about it, because it's I went in barely understanding what it was, and there was a twist that like totally made it for me.
okay, good, good. Yeah, I love that. I watched Heart. Well, of course, you know you saw my review. I watched Captain America. I thought that was decent, but I also watched Heart Eyes, which is like the horror
Yeah,
movie slash rom com, and I was pleasantly surprised by that. You know,
I was shocked. Yeah, because I
yeah,
really had no expectations for it. If it's like a holiday themed horror movie, those usually don't. They're usually just like they're almost usually like as bad as a Hallmark movie, you know.
right, right,
But that Hard Eyes was kind of like it was making fun of Hallmark movies.
right.
And it was like it's like because it was so kind of self-aware and like sarcastic, it didn't really need to be that good of a horror movie, but it was anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah, I really
and
enjoyed it.
it's somehow, you know, tonally, it was a rom com and a horror movie, and it worked. I don't know how they
Yeah.
did that,
Well,
and
it's funny on both counts. Like it did work. It didn't have to, but it did.
yeah, it worked. And I gotta say, I kind of recognize the lead actress. Her name is Olivia Holt. I've seen her in not a lot of stuff, mostly Disney stuff. But man, she's gorgeous. Oh my god.
She's a cutie.
Yes.
For real, that cast was really good. They had like her boss was really funny. That like Southern
Yes.
lady and stuff. She was funny. That was a really good cast. It's like you said, like as a horror movie, it's better than it had to be, and even as a rom com, it was better than it had to be. So yeah, I really
Definitely.
think that movie's gonna find its audience and have sequels and stuff. I guarantee it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I could definitely see it as a sequel, and also Mason Gooding, who's the son of Cuba Gooding Jr. He was really good as the lead actor.
He was really
Um,
good ding it. He was really good ding this movie.
yeah.
Sorry, that was bad. That was really stupid. It just
Excuse
seemed
me.
like an E-Man style joke to
Yeah,
make. So
Gooding. Yeah, yeah, it was. I am the pun master. Um,
Fun Master
I
General.
Fun Master General. Okay, so I don't know. Like I said, time is weird now. Has it been
Yeah,
a year since you moved to Los Angeles, or has it been
it
longer?
a little less. Just it'll be a year next month.
Okay.
Actually, man, yeah, I moved the first week of March, so I'm just a couple weeks out from being a full year.
Wow.
Yeah, and that
Uh,
doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like I've been here a year.
man. Well, since you moved to Los Angeles, what are Chris's do's and don'ts of living in Los Angeles?
Ooh, do's and don'ts of living in Los Angeles. Well, man, this is interesting. I have a big long list. I think there's a couple of things that I expected from like cliches about the place that weren't true. Um, like yes, traffic is really bad, but if you've ever lived in a big city like
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte, I lived in Charlotte, lived in Orlando, spent time in Atlanta. LA is not the worst traffic city I've ever been in. It really isn't. One
Oh,
thing it's
okay.
got going for it is, I mean, it's bad. Don't get me wrong. Like it's I don't know. I just if you live in a big city, you get used to like, oh well, if I gotta go somewhere and it's in the morning, or if I gotta go somewhere and it's close to 5, I gotta budget at least an hour to get there.
Right, right. That's
True
smart.
in every city. I mean, I don't know. Like I don't. If anything, I can say here, people. I'm not trying to be like it's all sunshine and stuff, but well, actually, it literally is. I'm just trying to say people don't make mistakes or whatever. It's just the behavior of drivers, especially on the interstate here, to me seems a lot better. Cause like I know in Charlotte, here you can have a bunch of cars on the interstate, but everything is moving. Whereas like in Charlotte, if you get a bunch of cars on the interstate, it's a standstill no matter what. Like
Okay.
people just operate a little better out here in that way anyway. So traffic's not near as bad as I thought. Um, Homelessness is as bad or worse than you probably think. I mean, it's just everywhere.
Oh yeah,
Um,
definitely.
but getting around town's not near as bad as I thought it would be. There's public transit, which is good, and you can Uber. Like I've gas is really expensive here. I work from home, so I've actually not spent tons of money on gas because I usually use public transportation or stuff like that. My do's and don'ts of it. But well, I'm probably better at do's and don'ts of like when you visit. I definitely think know that Hollywood is a feature. It's not like you don't come out here and you're in Hollywood. You know, like Hollywood Boulevard is really the attraction, and
Okay.
you don't want to just like that's the kind of thing you want to pick a day to do it. Just like any tourist attraction, it's got I mean, you can feel it's a little bit cheesy and ridiculous and crowded. But the one thing I will say, do not miss on Hollywood Boulevard is to eat a meal at, it's not cheap, but to eat a meal at Musso and Frank. And if you, before you come here, do your research and find out about Musso and Frank. If you've seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that's where they
Hmm.
have the big cocktail, the big Bloody Mary with the celery sticking out of it and Al
Yeah,
Pacino in it.
yeah.
That's
Okay.
Musso and Frank, and it's over 100 years old. And like Charlie Chaplin used to race there on his horse. I mean, their cars existed when he was there, but he still rode a horse and tied up outside so he could sit in the front booth and make sure his horse was okay. There's just endless
Wow.
history there. So it's like it's funny because like Hollywood Boulevard outside when you're walking around, it looks like the hokiest like tourist trap thing ever. Don't want to miss, and that's one of them.
Okay. But I wanted to know for you, since moving to Los Angeles, how has that helped, if it has, ignite your creativity?
Oh my God, yes, absolutely. It's funny you say that because I always lauded how because the internet know how easy it is to make stuff that you can just stay where you are and do it, which you can. But I
Hmm.
think the lesson for me is if you're going to do that out there, you've got to really become a machine of like you have to be. It's like you have to become an entrepreneur, and your what you're doing has to become a business that you start. Like you have to take it that seriously. It's
Right.
got to be. You just have to be so self promoting. Whereas out here, if you don't have that kind of personality, I mean, man, you walk out your front door and you're gonna bump into people who like what you do. Like it's like you can't go anywhere without being around people, and so the energy you get when you just can the networking thing or whatever, it's just so easy here. I mean, I've barely put in the effort, and I'll go meet people. I've started a band, and all of it has happened from I played a show like 2 months after I'd been here, and all of it
Wow.
is literally just from going out in public and being friendly. That's it. I mean, I haven't none of the things that have happened for me out here were because I was trying. Like I still work from home. I work for the same company I did back home, so I'm out here and like that's paying the bills just fine, and I'm happy and working from home. So I've decided to just very organically just go out and meet people and like
Hmm.
just to see if that led to something, and it absolutely did. And I'm very very spoiled in that way, where I immediately met people who made movies and did the kind of stuff I did and were into the same things I was. I immediately met musicians that wanted to do what I do, and I don't think some of that is I'm a little bit like Forrest Gump. Like I do sort of just tend to fail into friendships and stuff, But
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
same
yeah.
time, it's this place. There's just the population is just too dense with people who are creative that it's just so easy to make a network out here. So that's the big advantage.
Cool, cool. Since you've left, what are some of the things you miss about South Carolina?
Weather.
Okay.
Yeah, it's weird. I underestimated because I moved here last March and like we had it was still the winter. So the winter here is like it rains. It's chilly, it's cold, it gets cold here, especially at night.
Okay.
It can get because at the end of the day it's kind of like a desert environment. So at night during the winter it can get really cold and really cold as in the 40s. But the big thing you miss is just like there is no rain. I mean, you get like a few days where it rains here and there, a few times a month in the winter, but it's strange to go almost a whole year without seeing any rain. And I took for granted how growing up in the South, my brain, how it was gonna, I've never been like that. So this past summer and fall, when there wasn't any rain, the first night we got rain, because it was a few weeks after the wildfires, I was having a conversation with someone. We were watching a movie or something. We were watching Severance, and I was focused on the movie, and we were sort of talking back and forth. And I heard my brain heard this like tap 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 sound, and I was like, my instincts were like, oh, it's raining, and like you know what I mean? It's like it cut through, and it was like the it was like the universe like spoke out to me. It was like, Chris, it is here. And I really, that's how it felt, because it's like no one else heard it but
Wow.
me. I heard like ding, 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 and it was some water hitting somewhere. And I like ran over to the deck and was just like, it was a spiritual moment of like, my friend Rain.
Wow. Did
Yeah.
you
And
did you cry?
no, I didn't cry.
Oh,
I just had a cheesy, silly, like standing outside moment. I was being ridiculous and like
nice.
embarrassing looking, but I don't think I actually cried. But the sky was crying for me.
But Jay-Z said, I can't see him coming down my eyes, so I have to make the song cry. But
Oh wow, exactly,
yeah, yeah,
exactly. Like
man.
like I'll never, even when it rains, like thunderstorms. You know, in the summertime in the South,
Oh
like you
yeah,
go
yeah,
outside,
yeah.
the sky is just, it's like a painting, and you've got like sunlight coming from back here, hitting houses and trees in front of you, and behind it is pitch black, and there's all this texture and clouds and stuff. That's definitely what I miss, because it's just not here.
Yeah.
But it makes up for it with like the sunsets and sunrises here are just magic. It's every single time. They're incredible.
Wow. I would say it's true, man, because it's really all about balance. One of my dreams is I want to go to Astoria, Oregon. You know why? Because
Yeah.
that's where Goonies was filmed. But
Yeah.
to live there and as much rain as they get, it's like there's too much of something, and there's like not enough of it, like you're saying. And like for me, like we just had it rained all day yesterday in Rock
Yeah.
Hill, and it's okay when it's like I was saying to somebody, I was like, this is I don't mind it raining when I'm in a place where I'm not wet, so I can
Yeah.
have a bowl of soup or read a book or something like that. That's great. Same thing with snow. Like I'm originally from Jersey. Like in Jersey, they get snow. Here they get like we get like a little dusting, and it's still exciting, but it's nothing like to where it is up north. I didn't even know you lived in Orlando. How long did you live in Orlando?
For a year, that was when well, we knew each other. That was when I was married at the time and my wife worked for Disney.
That's right. I
Yeah.
forgot all about that. Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Which was 10 years ago this year.
What?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, that's time, man. It's
I
crazy,
know.
man.
I was gonna say, I have a funny thing where like stuff that was a year ago or 2 years ago, I'm like, there's no way. Or three, you said it was 3 years ago when we had that first interview on here with just you and me. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
man, there's no way that was 3 years ago. That's like, that seems way closer than that. That stuff, I'll feel that. But then something that happened, like when I think about that being 10 years ago, it completely feels like 10 years ago. Or with stuff that happened like and I was, like in my 20s or whatever, I'm like, no, that feels ancient. I get that. That feels way back there. Like think about your childhood, doesn't it? It feels about as distant from me as like Oz, or Star Wars Galaxy. It just doesn't even feel real anymore.
But when I think about it in when you think about it in decades, it doesn't seem it really wasn't that long ago. Like when you
Right.
think about it, like as in like I was telling somebody like the first time I watched Return of the Jedi in a movie theater, you know what I'm saying? It has such a it's such a special memory for me because like I will
Me
always
too.
have a biker scout action figure in my hand. You know what I'm saying? I remember
Yeah.
how that felt. I remember how it smelled. But all of
Mm-hmm.
those things weren't that long ago. You know what I'm saying? Weren't not too long ago. I wanted to say this too, real quick. The interview that we did, the first interview that we did, man, I tell you, man, you really have a gift of storytelling, man. And that
Oh,
one of the things that really made that interview flow was like when you were talking about the first time you saw the Time magazine with Steven Spielberg on the cover, and you said something that was so relatable. Is like when you said you were in school and but the classrooms were like good getting like a makeover, and so you had to have the classroom in a trailer
yeah. We just
and
had too many kids.
or too many kids or
Yeah. So
and then the light and hit the blinds,
mm,
and I mean I like all of that stuff, man. It's like I could see it in my head, and I remember moments like that for me too, because we in grade school we had the same thing where we had to move inside of a trailer because something was happening, I don't know. But yeah, man, I just say you got a real gift of storytelling, man. It's really it's a real gift.
well, thanks very much. I think that is the secret sauce of storytelling, is having things like that. They're just so vivid for you that it's like the way that if you're telling a story and it's like you're telling a fiction story or something, or you're telling somebody else's story that you're not really familiar with, and you've really got to struggle to like research and find out details that sound genuine. And it's like you still are only getting sort of close. But it's like if you had a thing that happened and you were there and you were like elevated in that moment, I think there is this little pin that gets put in your head like a map pin, and it's a
Yeah,
magical, like if you can get your head in that space, you can give that to other people, because it's just you're so familiar with it, you're so there mentally that it does takes very little effort for you to put them there. And I think that's just a virtue of intensity of moment. Like it's funny because I also think like going to see Jurassic Park for the first time. I don't know if I might have told this story in the last one, that I remember it was like my church was on a mission trip and near Wilmington, and like 5 or 6 of us wanted to go, and I remember everyone that went and where they were sitting in the theater, and then like
wow.
the AC was dripping, and I remember it like hitting, because I remember us being thinking it was so cool that like it's raining in the movie, and the AC was
Right.
dripping, it was like splattering on us a little bit,
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was
that's
like
cool.
4DX.
Right, right. Before there was 40X. That's funny.
Yeah.
Or even when you were saying, and this is such a cool detail in your story, where you're saying like you were bullied, but to distract the bully from
Mm-hmm.
bullying you, you would draw something really cool like Wolverine or Spider
Yep.
Man. I can
Yeah.
relate to that so much because, like, you would being quiet is never enough when you're in a bullying situation. It's just like
Oh
somebody's
God,
gonna
no.
find it, and then but you're doing something to kind of distract them. Like, oh, that is pretty cool, and you're really gifted artist too, man. I must
Thank
say.
you.
Um,
Well, I got
oh,
that. I had to become, because that was what I used to get bullies to leave me alone.
right. They're like, oh,
Drawing
Spider Man.
Wolverine.
So since moving out to Los Angeles, have you gone out for any auditions?
No, I haven't. I like I said, the progress I've made has really just been organic, just making friends.
Right.
To be totally honest with you, I have since I moved out, like everything in my life is going really, really well. But I don't know if it's like the changes and coming out here. I don't know if it's just like I still, I got divorced in 2021, but I've been a little out here. I've been a little bit operating under a cloud of like anxiety and kind of depression and stuff. And I'm fine, but it's made me sort of operate at about half capacity, kind of. So I haven't had the motivation to go out and seek out auditions and stuff. That is part of my 2025 plan, is to start doing that stuff. But I haven't for that reason. I think I've also been spoiled by the fact that I didn't have to like to make friends and stuff and work
Yeah,
on
yeah.
projects and everything. But yeah, so to be honest with you, I'm still struggling, I think, mentally to get there where I'm motivated to get up and go do that stuff. But I am getting there.
Yeah, good, good. And have you bumped into any like celebrities or anything? Have you seen anybody or no?
No, I don't get it. Not at all. I on
Wow.
previous I've been out here on several trips before and seen famous people. I was at a coffee shop waiting on my coffee one time out here, and I saw Josh, what's his name from Drake and Josh? Josh Trank?
Oh, Josh Peck.
Peck. Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw Josh Peck. I saw I'm trying to remember now that I saw Stevie Wonder out here one.
What?
Well, I was at the North American Music Convention, Music Merchants Convention, so that was a little different. But saw Corey
Oh, that's
Feldman
so
on that trip.
cool. Wow.
Yeah, but
What?
yeah, but I've lived here for a year and I've seen no famous people.
Oh, wow. Well, it's never too late. It'll happen eventually.
Yeah. I
All
mean, I've
right.
seen like I went to a screening of The Stand, the miniseries The Stand, and the director Mick Garris was there, and the
Okay.
moderator was the Mike Flanagan, who makes like Midnight Hour and
Yeah.
not Midnight Hour, Midnight Mass, and Haunting of Hill House and stuff. But like I went to an event and saw them, so that doesn't really count.
You had Dead Meat Pete on a hiatus. So will that be coming back, or you just what's the deal with that?
I would love for it too. For me, that project is it was just ultimately bigger than something I could do in my free time. So for me to bring Dead Meat Pete back would I don't think there's any way for me to do it other than it being my 9 to 5. It's just too much work. And I'd love for that to happen. So my dream is that one day, it's one of my favorite things I've ever done. So my dream is that one way or another, I will get back to that show.
Okay.
I'll find a time somewhere one day, but my dream is that I have success in this or that way, and I get to revive Dead Meat Pete someday.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. No, you've come back to South Carolina since you moved to Los Angeles, right?
Mhm.
the visit. Now, on the way back to Los Angeles, please tell me, and like when you got close to Los Angeles, did you play LL Cool J's "I'm Going Back to Cali" from the Less Than Zero soundtrack in your
I didn't.
headphones?
I let you down. I'm
Oh,
so sorry. I didn't. I went. Now I drove out here. I drove 3 days, so I did it pretty quickly.
oh yeah,
And
that is quick.
I was, to be honest with you, I was on a audiobook kick. So I was like listening to audiobook like biographies about celebrities and LA people.
Yeah.
I think I was listening to a biography of Stevie Nicks when I got to California.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
man. So wait, it only took you 3 days going from South Carolina to California?
Yeah. I now three, yeah, like three as in I guess more like 3.5, because it's like I stayed in hotels for 3 nights, I guess is what I'm saying. And then
Okay,
on that, so I guess technically on that fourth day, I got up and came to LA.
okay.
I guess that
I,
math works. I don't know. Something like that.
I
All I know is I had 3 hotel stays.
okay, because I would think it would take like at least a week. Okay, so speaking of
But
three,
I drove my ass off. Like I went.
oh,
I
I
stopped
bet,
very little.
I bet. Have you had Roscoe Chicken and Waffles since you've been there?
I actually had it before I moved. Yeah, I had it a couple years ago on a trip out
Okay,
here. Yeah, I thought it was awesome.
okay, awesome, great.
I'm not willing to call it like legendary, but I think I'm also spoiled by, do you remember a place in Rock Hill, the Five and Dine?
In downtown Rock Hill?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that place.
That I think it affected how I saw Roscoe's, because the chicken and waffles at that place that's sadly no longer there was so good that I couldn't help but compare it. It wasn't as good as Five and Dine.
They used to also have like this thing that involved Captain Crunch. I see.
Yeah,
I never been there, and because it closed down before I can
exactly.
go, and I heard it was great.
That yeah, that so just even though it's gone now, the secret ingredient, if you're making your own chicken and waffles, was the something in the chicken. I don't know if it was in the batter or they glazed it afterwards, but it had like Krispy Kreme donut glaze on the chicken.
Whoa,
It was
oof.
so good. But
And they
anyways, yeah.
don't. Wow, because they don't. Do they have a Krispy Kreme on the West Coast?
I haven't been. I think so. I'm not sure.
I know they don't have Waffle House because I talked to an actor and he said when he came to South Carolina to visit, he was blown away by Waffle House. They
That's
don't have.
funny.
Yeah.
I'm I've never been a big Waffle House fan, so I'm not hurting.
What? Shoot, a pecan waffle? Oh my
It's
goodness.
I man, breakfast places live and die on their cheese for me, and I don't.
Okay.
The cheese at Waffle House is just like tastes like Kraft singles. I'm
But
not interested. That's all.
you don't like American cheese, right? Because I
Right,
remember you
that's what I'm
saying.
saying. And I don't
Okay.
like American cheese in general, but it's like the best version of it is like fast food. For some reason, American cheese at McDonald's or Burger King
Oh
is
yes,
totally good. I don't
yes,
know
it's
why
amazing.
it tastes totally different to me than like Kraft singles from the grocery store. I don't know why it tastes totally different to me. And Waffle
No,
House, you can tell they just slap those singles on there.
right. I agree with you 100%. Like I love like I don't even like the American cheese melted. I like it kind of cold still, but
Yeah.
slightly melted. I love it. Okay, so top three, top
Okay.
three movie snacks.
Top three movie snacks. Definitely so. Number one, I mean, yeah, popcorn is be all end all of movie snacks. The smell of popcorn is the smell of movies. So I
Yes.
can't not say that. And then followed by peanut butter M&Ms for me. And then if I'm going all-time list, I haven't been on this kick lately, but if I'm going all-time list, then I think Twizzlers.
Ooh, not red vines, but Twizzlers.
Right.
Okay.
Twizzlers.
And when I interviewed Micah, shout out to Micah, he said that he likes Diet Cherry Coke and the pretzel M&Ms.
Oh, interesting. Boy, that's a rare choice. I
Yeah,
don't now if
yeah.
we're going soda, then I always drink Coke Zero. My big thing is Coke Zero.
Right, right. I
So
saw
I
you
can
drinking Coke Zero.
I know I drink it all the time. Uh
Nice.
like the man in the poster behind you.
That's right, Scott.
Yeah. But
Dude,
yeah,
did you hold on? This blew my mind. I'm just learning this as an adult and I cannot believe it. Did you know Jason Schwartzman? You know who his mom is?
Talia Shire. Yeah.
Dude, I was
Yeah, it's
like,
crazy.
what? Oh my
Yeah.
god. Oh, that blew my mind. I'm sorry. All
I
right.
didn't know. I've only found out recently. You remember the movie Teen Witch, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Robert Lively.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Blake Lively's sister.
Right.
And her
Right.
brother is the European Vacation Russ,
What?
on the Sun and European Vacation. You know that Russ was always a different actor.
Right, 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 right,
The sort
right.
of tall, lanky guy that plays him in European Vacation is their brother.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I can't
Yeah,
remember his first name, but yeah,
yeah, Robin Lively. She was in Karate Kid 3 as well. She's a
that's
babe.
right. Yeah.
Um, top three movie soundtracks.
Oh, wow, this is
Mm-hmm.
tough because I have like I want to answer film scores and then but also like just film soundtracks like Scott Pilgrim is a great soundtrack. So let me just do a balance here
Yeah.
and do some of both. My favorite soundtrack that like showed me a bunch of new music and I never forgot was Angus, and
Ooh.
that was such a good soundtrack. And then when it comes to film scores, I think I gotta say, man, that is so difficult. Gosh, I don't know. I mean, I guess it would be silly if it's all encompassing. You gotta say Star Wars because there's just so many different sounds.
Mm.
But so let me say, let me just. I can't offer you any new interesting information on film scores, so I'm just gonna get rid of it. Understand, I
Okay.
love film scores. I love John Williams, so I'm gonna say Angus, and then I'm gonna say Empire Records, and then I'm gonna say Singles, the Matt Dillon
Singles.
movie.
Oh,
Singles.
okay. Right,
You
right.
say
Okay.
Dingles?
No, no, no. I said singles.
Oh, okay, yeah, Matt Dillon movie. Yeah, so Empire Records, Singles, and Angus.
Mm,
All '90s movies.
nice. I had the same question for I interviewed Hal Rudnick from Screen Junkies,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't remember all the ones he said, but like mine are three soundtracks: the Boomerang soundtrack, Boomerang starring
Nice.
Eddie Murphy,
Oh yeah.
um, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle soundtrack from the '90s movie.
Can I guess the
Uh,
third one?
yes,
Judgment Night. No.
Judgment. No, not
Judgment.
Judgment.
Oh, okay. It was a mashup of a bunch of like industrial or punk artists with hip hop artists, and it was just like a lot of people remember it.
No, I don't even remember. Well, I don't remember that movie at all. It sounds familiar.
Okay.
Who's in it?
Ice T.
Oh, okay, I do remember that movie now. No, the third one though, I just say like, not the entire soundtrack, but I love Goonies, like Good Enough,
Oh,
Cyndi
interesting.
Lauper,
Yeah.
but yeah, top three restaurants in Los Angeles.
Top three restaurants in Los Angeles. Let me say the number one. Actually, first, sorry, I'm double checking that I'm right about who is in Judgment Night. I'm wrong. Ice T is not in Judgment Night. I don't know how I got there. I think sometimes I confuse it with Surviving the Game. I think that's why I did that. Um,
Okay.
but anyway, so fact checked, done. So number one, easy, easy, easy pick. So I'm an old restaurant guy. I'm an old steakhouse guy. Uh, I wish I had the budget to eat that more often, but that's my favorite places. So in that, number one is Musso and Frank, the one I already talked about.
Okay.
Number two is, gosh, this is hard because I'm such a old restaurant junkie. It's my thing. The Smokehouse, which is very similar. It's right next to Warner Brothers Studio, and it's also just a super old steakhouse. And then finally, I'm gonna say that my favorite is, man, I really like Barney's Beanery, the original Barney's Beanery, where Jim Morrison peed on the bar.
Okay. Three movie theaters in Los Angeles that you've experienced so
Ooh,
far.
oh man, again, also difficult. So number one is the Egyptian I've been to. So there's going to be, I can only tell you what I've been to. So
Okay.
I don't want to vote for something like, I'm sure Grauman's is better, but I've never been. But the Egyptian's number one, and then the Aero Theater in Santa Monica. Well, actually, you know what? The one what I really want to pick is just not there anymore. It was the in Westwood, it was the Regency Theater, you know, in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where she goes to see her movie she's in.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
That was the
yeah.
Regency. I'm going to include it because maybe it'll come back one day. So I'm going to say the Egyptian, the Regency, even though it's currently not a theater, which sucks. And they changed it like a few months after I moved here, but I got to go there because it was real close to me. And then I'm going to go ahead and throw in there and say a modern theater as much as I love the old cinema houses. The AMC Century City, I live there. I mean, I have like AMC A list. I can walk to it. It's at a
Oh,
mall
nice.
and it's massive. It's just like, you know how, I don't know. I love it when a theater is just like, I get really bummed when I go to a movie and that I go into the screen is like tiny and there's like 15 seats, you know. I can't help it.
Yeah.
I get bummed out because I want to be like awash in a sea of cinema, you know. Um, and like this is one of those theaters where you cannot go wrong. Like if you go to a movie, it's going to be huge because it's a huge theater. And oh
So,
wait, I have seen one celebrity there, not really much of a celebrity. There's an Instagram account called Almost Friday. It's like a spinoff of something called Friday Beers, and it's just the comedians. And so I don't know if this guy's famous, but he's one of my favorite accounts. And I saw the guy from Almost Friday there, which isn't gonna mean a whole lot to anybody else, but because it's just like an Instagram account.
that's still cool. That's really
Yeah, it was so
cool.
cool. I saw him waiting in line for a movie, and that was pretty cool.
So you mean to tell me you said you live within walking distance of the theater that you just mentioned?
Yeah, AMC. Yeah.
Like, if you were to walk there, how long would it take you to get
No,
there?
it's a walk. Like, yeah, it takes me about the quickest I could probably do it is 30 minutes. It's really kind of a 40-minute walk, I guess. So it's
Oof.
a walk. It's not like
Oh,
right down the
okay.
street. But I
Okay.
walk all the time. I don't care, so that doesn't bother me.
Okay. Well, cool. Still, that's damn 40 minutes though. That's like go like I'm sorry. I'm thinking like it's like the town I used to live in is called Wilson, North Carolina, and to
Uh-huh.
get to Raleigh, North Carolina, it take 45 minutes. But that's the first thing that popped in my head.
Oh, that's funny. Driving, yeah.
Yeah,
This, yeah, like I said, it's a walk, but I like walking. So maybe I
yeah.
can't totally sell it as a walkable theater. For me, it's walkable. Um, and if I drive, like if I'm gonna drive and I can leave for the movie 5 minutes before it starts and make it. So
Oh, that's awesome, man. I'm just
you
the
should be.
fact
It's a
that you live in
great
Los
theater.
Angeles, but that's like my dream, like to be in walking distance of a movie theater. Where I could just walk.
Man, you have no idea. So sometimes I'll be like, I kind of felt zero regret or question of this move at all because it's just like even with everything else that maybe my brain is going kind of topsy turvy. I've never questioned moving here. I knew it was the right thing to do. And I'm constantly seeing things where I'm like, man, if that was the only thing I got by moving here, I would take it. Like
Right.
I'd move here for that theater, not just because it's close and not just because it's huge and it's got IMAX and laser and blah 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 blah. And it's just like it's also like it's big and it gets like director Q&As and stuff. Like the directors will show up for
Wow.
it. And they always get the biggest like it's a dream place for me. They always get the
Wow.
biggest like displays. Like yesterday I went and they had like a giant red Hulk coming up out of the sidewalk in front of the theater and it had like the
Nice.
props of like the way the sidewalk looks outside the theater. They made like the rocks of that busting open and stuff. But my favorite thing about it, and this is why, like I said, I would move here for this, is it's always completely packed. It's always full of people, and nobody is
Mm.
ever rude. It's always a great audience. Like I couldn't ask for anything more in life than a crowded theater full of people who are there to watch the movie, totally engaged, not being rude, not talking, not on their phones. Like I said, I would have moved here for that.
Let me tell you, it's so funny that you say that because when we did the Indiana Jones roundtable, one of the things we talked about was like movie culture and the movie going experience and how it's kind of dwindling away. But one of the things that we talked about was it would like theaters like the Alamo Draft House, they would have Q&As and everything like that to add to the experience of going to the movie theaters. And you actually have that at the movie theater that you're in now. I'm jealous,
Yeah.
man. I mean, that's awesome,
Mm-hmm.
dude. Can you tell the audience like your social how people can reach you through your social media platforms?
Yeah, if you just search Chris Gervais on Instagram, I post a lot of fan art there. That's my main thing that I do. Um, I guess right now that's only my big thing. That and Dead Meat Pete. If you go to deadmeatpete.com.
Man, so good to talk to you, man. And I'm glad you're safe in Los Angeles. I'm glad everything's working out for you, man. And I miss seeing you around, buddy. But I'm glad everything's working out for you, buddy.
Thank you so much. Same to you.
All right, peace.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for having me.